Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Once again, we are having a live stream regarding various topics with my best full buddy with Mike, with my other best buddy from the Land Under, Fred.
Yep.
Um, so welcome, you guys. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Raring to go.
Hmm. Yeah,
Coffee.
yeah,
Yeah.
coffee.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Although it
We'll see.
so,
Yeah.
what time in the morning is it in Australia?
7 a.m.
7. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I,
It's
I'm I'm barely awake. I'm going to be honest. I'm barely awake. just crawl
yes.
out of bed.
8 p.m. here is fine.
It was completely pitch black when I got up first, and it's a bit of light now. It's changed a bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us
Yeah,
again.
Yes.
my
Yes.
pleasure. I think we always have a fun discussion. We always I think bring something interesting to the table for us at least. And I'm really glad with all the feedbacks I got afterwards. I have to say so. And I noticed some of the people commenting on your videos, Mike,
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
asking
Yeah.
about if this stream is something like regular, once a week, once a month. So the answer is whenever we can. But yeah, it's nice to see when people are asking, hey, when you guys do it, like, so yeah,
Yeah.
they asking about
Yeah.
it is
It's
something we're
it's
gonna.
nice to be appreciated. That's
It is, it
like
is, it is, it is, it is. It's nice to create. We don't have this, this what is the correct word in English? We're not that pretentious about creating, about bringing something really special. But I think the one aspect we have is that we are. It's true, we remain truthful. And it's personal, I often notice some videos they are, about records that have been sold, top 10, whatever, and it's what I really like. It's something personal about our journeys, and so yeah. Once again, we are covering this folk topic. We will be having mainly two topics.
And once again, our viewers are German and French people.
Yeah, that's right. I will.
yeah.
I will just.
You know what? I really like that because
Yeah.
normally when I do a live stream, it's the same old Brits, the same old Americans and Canadians. So it really makes a change. So I really appreciate you guys
Yeah.
being in the gallery.
Yeah, for those who doesn't know, we are really international as we can be. Fred and myself, Mike, you as well. But I think with Fred, we've done streams in German. We have a German speaking channel, Fred and I, and we often got to host a live stream on this channel as a French people originally from France, even though we don't live in
We've done
France.
streams in French on my channel as well.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a French stream myself. I host every Sunday morning with Stunny, but this is a dedicated channel, Disque du Pif. So yeah, at the end of the day, we it's nice to see people from all over the place, French speaking people, German speaking. It's nice. But yeah, I can just highlight some comments. Ingo is here. Okay. Oh, I have to translate.
Yeah, he's back home from Minty Vinyl.
Minty, Minty, who has a store, if I'm not mistaken,
Düsseldorf.
in Düsseldorf. Yeah, correct.
Mm.
And he mentioned Sarah, who are the Fraulein Freakbeat.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, we often do stream with her, friend myself. So nice to see you over here. We have Marcel, another fellow member from the German vinyl community. We have some people, some guy from Franche-Comté,
Yeah,
Perplex.
this guy is from my region of France. We would live in the same area, literally.
Yeah.
Perplex, yeah.
Good.
Perplex, yeah.
Yeah.
We have Patrick, another regular panelist, really always
Yeah.
here, always very supportive. Hi. And yeah, so as I said, today's topic, actually, we have two topics. We'll start maybe with covering the latest purchases or rabbit holes, because I know Fred make this big decision of not buying a single record this year, which doesn't mean he doesn't have any rabbit holes. So we can just touch that for a
I can show you the last records that I got last year if you want. It's a,
all
Yeah, why not?
rabbit hole. So and as a second topic, folk music, and just to make things a little bit clearer or easier to understand, because Fred and I we had this discussion this week on the phone, and you asked me, hey, is it something non-British, non-English? Because we already we already covered, we already hosted two streams on which we covered. We only scratched the surface on about British folk, English folk music. So based on our knowledge, the stuff we like, this incredible book, Electric Eden, we all the three of us have in our on shelves. So to make things a little bit easier, today we won't talk about this artist, this folk from England.
can I say, if you want to show the last things that you found, it's not because I'm not. I'd be interested to see what you. I don't have to participate in everything you're saying. So, if you two want to show your latest buys or finds, it's fine by me. I don't have to. It doesn't matter if I like. For future installments, it's not because I don't buy records that I'm not potentially interested in what you've got to show anyway. So do it,
Yeah, but I didn't buy that much record lately either. So I do have a few of those stuff I bought in the past month. But we do have rabbit holes. We do have stuff that are are circling in our mind for the time being. So so that's the idea. And as I said, and the folk topics on the second topic. So not the non-Anglo-Saxon folk. So feel free, Mike or Fred, to talk about US folk, Australian folk from New Zealand. And we are expecting to talk about something different than English, obviously. So maybe some stuff from Eastern part of Europe, Africa, etc., etc. That is the aim. Since we have already covered the English folk in the first two streams, me and this gentleman we made. So we just came up with the idea of touch basing other countries. So
just that Vinyl Ghost sort of comment about Ashra Temple's starring Rossi. Yeah, I think that's a great album. Unfortunately, I only have it on CD, but it's the music that matters, isn't it? And I think it's a great album.
Oh, where is this comment?
You got it on screen at the moment, Ron.
Ashra Temple.
Ashra Temple, Manu Guching, who then went a bit more psychedelic, cosmic with Ashra, which I like even better than Ashra Temple personally. The band that he sort of continue with, but with Roses, Staring Roses, it's a nice record. I thought, wasn't that a Cosmic Joker? No, I know, I'm just mixing in my head. I was thinking maybe it was a Cosmic Joker's record with Rosie, but it's Ashra Temple, yeah. Okay. Well, did you want to start with?
As I say, latest discoveries, purchase, or rabbit hole stuff that are that are spinning intensely on your table. Yeah.
By the way, I was going to say, Ingo Vinyl Ghost, he's talking about Angine de Poitrine. Everybody's talking about Angine de Poitrine at the moment. Have you heard of that band? Did you know who they are?
Who?
Put the comment by Vinyl Ghost. Yeah. Do you know this band? Angine de Poitrine. Have you heard of them?
No, I've got no idea.
Well, they're from Canada. They're from Quebec, actually. They're
Yeah.
two dudes who dress in the weirdest costumes. They're, I mean, you have to see it. It's not easy to explain, but they've got, um, homemade costumes. It looks really ridiculous. But one of them is a drummer. One of them drums, and the other one has got a double neck guitar. The bottom is bass, and the top is guitar. And they play the most complex kind of Frank Zappa esque
Yeah. Yeah.
music on with two instruments. And I mean, he uses a loop pedal, so he just does all the bass lines on the loop, and then he just plays the guitar. It's incredibly complicated. When you watch them play, you just think, "Oh my God, how does he even keep time or anything?" But I mean, personally, it's not my like. I admire the musicianship and everything. It's not something that grabs me intensely, musically speaking, but it's certainly worth watching. They did a live on KXP recently, I think, on the Seattle radio thing.
All right.
If you watch it, it's quite amazing to watch, but it's yeah. I think what's amazing for me is that technically proficient they are, and the young guys, and they're French Canadian. Well, they live in the vicinity of Romu somewhere, but they're quite amusing to watch. It's kind of like a mishmash of Frank Zappa and Pac-Man.
Yeah. That's right.
Wow.
It's very.
I'm going to have to check that out.
And everyone talks about that. There is this French dude. He has a channel, Le Collectionneur.
Yeah.
He dedicated a video. I think that it made the local newspaper or the TV stuff in Quebec. So yeah, but yeah, it is something like really like with techniques and but I didn't.
What did Ingo write? It's not a toe head. I don't even understand the comment. Guitar. It's what I said. The top is a guitar and the bottom is a bass. Is that what I said? A double neck?
Yeah.
Yes.
We call it a double neck in English.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
don't have the word in German.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Page had one, for instance.
Doppelhals.
Well,
guitar.
no, the Jimmy Page didn't have this. Yeah. Once was the bass. One neck was the bass, and the other.
Yeah.
But
It's a bass guitar combo, isn't it?
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was going to say, I mean, it's the hype at the moment. There's a lot of people talking about this band. They're very much talked about. I mean, give it a listen. It's quite fun. I mean, musically speaking. I mean, and what's interesting is that they've got these costumes that are obviously, I don't know how they even play music in those costumes. Like, it's if you saw what they're playing in, if you've got the ability to look at a picture of the band right now on your computer, it would help you so that you could visualize. But they paint their hands and feet because their whole costume is black and white, so it's black with white little dots, and so they buy acrylic paint from a store and they paint their hands in white or black, and their feet are painted as well. Their legs, their feet are painted. So they're playing in costumes with acrylic paint all over their body. It's fucking weird. It's like, it's anyway. No, Ingo, there's a vinyl. There is vinyl exists. Yeah, there is. I've seen it. Vinyl does exist, 100% for this band. You need to check it out. Anyway, I've finished with my.
Yeah, no, it's a nice introduction.
No,
he seems to like it because he already brought it on the live stream we've done. You and I, my Fred. The German German one, Ingo had already mentioned. So maybe his new favorite band. Who knows?
Yeah.
So let's dive into the.
That's what they look like. That's
Okay.
their costumes.
Wow.
That's them.
Yeah.
Hang on. Is there a better picture of them? Yeah. That's what they. Oops.
Oh, that is
The
so good.
messages popping up on my phone. Sorry, I didn't want to. But yeah. Anyway, there you are.
You have to come over here, Ingo. You have to take a trip to North America this summer.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
latest rabbit holes, latest discoveries, latest crush, latest.
Do you want to start with new acquisitions?
Yeah,
or?
both. As I said, yes, it can be. To me, it's both. You know, it's a new
Okay.
rabbit hole that I've recently found. So you start, Mike. You start.
Right.
First.
I've just got to get the record. It's just up here.
Yes, no worries. Yeah. So
Proceeds to show the Angine de Poitrine record.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I bought 1 or 2 records, and I was at a record fair last week. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. But
how was it this time? How was it
Sorry?
this time in terms of number of vendors or table booth, whatever? Because it's winter. Is it
there's a lot. It's quite a big record fair in Leeds. And it's once a month, and there's probably about 50 vendors.
Yeah, I'm asking because I know you go there every month, every single time that the fair takes place, so you can compare, you can review it. You in your own perception, okay, this time was a little less crowded, there were more tables, whatever. The staff was more interesting. You can compare because I guess you now have the experience.
Yeah, that's right. But it's the place where the VC in the UK meets up on
really?
a fairly regular basis nowadays.
Really?
So,
thanks to you.
Well, yeah.
No, yeah.
I just told everyone it was a great record fair, and they came along to see if I was telling the truth or not. So yeah. So shall I get us going then?
Yeah, the stage is
Please.
yours.
Yeah. So this is an album that it's a debut album, and I showed it on my channel a few days ago, but I think it's worth showing again because it's absolutely fantastic. Right, and this is it. It's called Bloodline, and it's by a singer-songwriter called Monrovia. So he names himself after the capital of Liberia, where he was born, and the guy was he was born in the middle of a brutal civil war basically, and he was orphaned. He was rescued by a charity, and spent his life from the age of 7 in the United States. First in Florida and then down in Tennessee, where he started getting sort of really interested in music. And as I say, he's a singer-songwriter, and this stuff. It's very. I mean, there he is as a child in the middle there, and the music it's very much sort of it's Western music. It's a bit sort of American folky, bit Americana, but you sort of get hints of his origins in the music, and the title of the album and the track Bloodline actually sort of talks about that. He was saying how he thought that sort of like coming from halfway across the world and spending his whole life from the age of 7 in a country where he wasn't born, so he's away from his roots, and he thought that he would lose something by being in that situation. But he says as he's got older, he's found that that's still with him, and so he, and through his music, he's looking to sort of really, maintain his his sort of his hold on his sort of roots, his ethnic roots and everything. And it's an absolutely wonderful. He's got a lovely voice, and I compared him to. He doesn't sound the same, but I compared him to Keanu Nelson.
Okay.
Who is the First Nations singer-songwriter. Is he from Northern Territories, isn't he, Fred?
Yeah, he's from from military, yeah.
But it's kind of more, rather than the music itself, it's more the kind of whole ethos of it. It's quite sort of understated. It's quite sort of modest in the way that the record is put together, and it's just. It's very personal, it sounds very, very personal, and you've got well, there's not much to show here because it's just the inner is just all the lyrics and everything, but it comes with this a little book of field notes, and
Cool.
So for each track he's written a little piece for each track.
Wow.
Explaining sort of what's behind it and what inspired him to do it. In fact, this track here, "Running Boy," possibly my favourite track on the album. So, that's my buy of the year so far. I know it's only February, but I think it will be up there come December anyway. And it's really fantastic album.
Yeah, I can imagine that it doesn't sound probably anything like Keanu Nelson, but the intent is a bit that. Yeah,
that's right. That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah.
But no, it's nice. I mean, I'm listening to you because I'm now in a non-buying phase, so it's good to get some recommendations and maybe I'll try it on Bandcamp. I'll go and listen to it on online. That's what I tend to.
This is it, Fred. I mean, just because you're not buying albums, it doesn't mean to say you can't listen to them, does it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the thing that's so good about this day and age is.
Are you elaborating? Are you elaborating a list, or maybe you put everything in the in the basket, and you wait until January 1st, 2027 to hit the purchase?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, 500 records all bought on the 1st of January 2027.
No, I didn't even buy 500 records last year, so I doubt that I will.
No.
But
so anyway, that's my latest find anyway, or my favourite so far.
Do you want me to keep going?
Sure.
Okay. Well, today, Sunday, the 22nd of Feb, we are. I'm going to see this guy here play a gig live, and that's one of the last albums I bought last year, so it kind of works in this guy is called Will Larson. If you're from the German vinyl community, you've probably seen me talk about this already, but too bad. We're going to talk about it again. It's an album called Confidence. It's his first album. He's a youngish guy, and he plays basically sax. Is very inspired by people like Pharoah Sanders and Coltrane and Eric Dolphy and people of that sort of ilk. And he made like a spiritual jazz album, and he lives here in Melbourne. And this afternoon, I'm going to go and see him release the album. It's a release party for this album, and it's at 3:30 this afternoon. I'm going with a friend, and I'm looking forward to it because I really like this record. It's really, it's really in the mold of this kind of modal spiritual jazz. It's, if you're familiar with Coltrane, Impulse, mid-period, it's in that sort of pocket there of modal jazz. It's very, very, very pleasant to listen to. It's not breaking a ton of new ground, but does music need to break ground to be interesting? I mean, it's a big question. But yeah, I love this. Also love this label, Awake New Record. It's if you ever going to have a record label, that's just really a cool thing to. And he has a band with double bass, keys, and drums, and yeah, it's nice. And so it's one of the last things I bought last year, and I happen to be going to see him this afternoon. So that sort of
Excellent.
works.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think you both like this. I mean, it's very lovely music. Anyway, I just digress.
So I didn't buy tons of records lately, but I was in Toronto last month in a bigger store down there. So, Sonic Boom, that's the place. We were with Brian during a snowstorm. How about that? So I like this store, especially they have a very fantastic folk country bluegrass section, and they also have sorry about this, that world music, not world music. Okay, they really have African, South American, divided by countries like Peru, Brazil, and Chile, and all that stuff. So and every time I go there, I find something suitable because it's purchased blind buy or released by Mr. Bongo. And this time I bought a record that I already had in my I was already holding in my hands, I think last summer, and for some reason didn't buy it. But this time, okay, what's the correct size? This one perhaps. This is so that's a reissue. That's an album released originally in '71 in Peru, and this is Telegraph Avenue. And Telegraph Avenue is really this kind of psychedelic rock with some Santana Caravanserai era influenced. Os Mutantes, on one side as well, and some bluesy Hendrixian guitar, with what they have in their DNA. The Peru, this when they sing, it's almost like mystical. So and the scene was down. Was I think was booming with other bands like Traffic Sound with Tarkus, which was more the kind of Black Sabbath, Peruvian Black Sabbath, and this is on this MAG label. So as other ones. So Telegraph Avenue. That is a nice surprise. So as I say, blind buy. One of my latest purchase, and a record I listen to almost every day since I bought it.
So it's from Chile. Is that what you said? Or
Peru,
yeah.
Peruvian.
Yeah. So you'd compare them with Os Mutantes then?
Yeah, the side one is really like this kind of Os Mutantes. Os Mutantes.
Which period Os Mutantes?
Yeah,
I'm just winding you up.
Yeah. The one album you had recommended, the only one I have with I don't remember the name, but this very spacey, trippy Os Mutantes. To me, it's like Chris Montes is tripping on LSD while watching Yellow Submarine.
They were, because they were in Brazil and they didn't have much access to a lot of studio time and techniques, and they made a lot of the sounds themselves. Like when you listen to the first Os Mutantes, they were using aerosol cans to make sound effect. They were just like using whatever they could to make the sound. It's really inventive. They're obsessed with the Beatles, clearly, but
yeah.
It's they were a great band.
And it's the kind of rock that is not prog, but it's like multi-segmented You have epic parts. You have parts where they sing like they harmonize in Spanish. After comes the guitar, like a la Hendrix, bluesy. This fuzzy guitar. The percussion reminds me of that. Yeah, even the first album, the Santana with the lion heads. So it's a great discovery. I really like this album. So yeah.
I think it's Mike's turn to show us something.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. I'll show you this.
Hi, Ivan, Music Man. Nice to have you on board.
So another album that I bought recently. Sleaford Modulatist.
Oh.
This is the demise of Planet X. And I went to see them in Leeds.
Yeah, you said. Yeah, I saw
just
it.
about
How was that?
2 weeks ago, and it was fantastic. They're I've seen them before, and they're always good value, and they put on a good show, the pair of them, and I think it's funny, really, because Jason Williamson sort of really has to do all the heavy lifting during the gigs, because he's doing the he's doing the singing and the rapid live, and then you've got Andrew Fern, who really programs the synthesizers, and it's there, and he's on stage, and he's dancing around to the music, really.
It's like Suicide, but the UK kind of
rap,
hip hop,
right? Yeah.
Version of Suicide, because Suicide, they were a duo. But what I want to know, my question about this gig is, how many times did he call people wankers in his songs? he just screams insults all day. I love this style. It's just like it's just a bloke just shouting wanker and fuck off every other word.
I mean, that's it. It wouldn't really do to sort of try and keep count. I know. Because that's it. I mean, that's what they're known for. But I mean, the thing is that they can be very creative in their insults. I think that's the thing. It's not just it's not just swearing for the sake of it. It's it's part of the art, isn't it? But this album, it's got some really good collaborations on it, and some quite sort of unusual ones. I mean, there's a track here, "The Good Life," which has been a single off of this, and there's the actress Gwendolyn Christie features, and she's doing a bit of rapping, and her voice is absolutely incredible. I mean, she's known as an actor in Game of Thrones. That's her, that's her sort of claim to fame. That's how people know her. But absolutely stunning track. And then there's a track called "Elitist Goat," and that's got that's guested by Aldous Harding, the New Zealand singer-songwriter. And I absolutely love Aldous Harding. She's one of my favorite female singers. So that was really good. But I mean, everything about this album is really good. I think it's the best they've had. The track there, "Bad Santa," that's my favorite, I think.
They could have made more of an effort with the album cover, though.
Well, I mean, the thing is this is a bit of a disappointment, really, because I ordered this album from their website. So basically, it's it's a die cut sleeve, So you got the hole in the middle, and then there's you get
The wankers
you get this
themselves.
print, and the thing is for so this is from their pre-order from their website, and and I got a little card as well that they've signed it, but so it was a pre-order. It's no more expensive than a standard copy, but I think the standard album actually looks better than this, quite honestly.
Oh, because does it have an actual cover?
Yes,
on it,
yes. I think it's got, it has this picture on the front.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know.
Well, you could tuck this in the front of your sleeve, and you'd have the impression. It's
maybe I will. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put it in there. Yeah, but so they were just really good. I like seeing them live. So it seems that nowadays I only go and see controversial bands, because the last band I went to see was Kneecap.
So,
yeah. This is what it's all about. But so that was.
We're in the presence of Leeds' #1 Sleaford Mod fan here.
I think I might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll continue after you. Thank you, Mike. I've talked about this as well before, but it's a nice record. I really like it. So that's an album that I got at the end of last year. Oh no, actually, I got it at the start of this year, because it was a pre-order from months and months ago, and it arrived in January. But it's not. It's an album from 2024 or 2023. But I only got it recently. And her name is Mabe Frati. And the album's called Sabes. What's the name of the album? It's written there. There you go. The album is called Sentir que no sabes. So she's a singer-song. Well, no, I wouldn't say singer-songwriter, but she's a kind of it's art pop. So could you call somebody who makes art pop a singer-songwriter? When I think of singer-songwriter, I think of people with a guitar, and but she composes on cello and she sings, and so it's a very it's a very poppy, very ambient art pop kind of mixture. What comes to mind when I listen to this is Julia Holter a little bit. She's got this kind of same, sense for melody. I think, if you like that sort of, Kate Bush, Björk school of music, you might enjoy this. This is cool. She's from Guatemala. I chose this because Romy was talking about Peru before, and so it's a good segue. And she's from Guatemala. She's a young lady. She's 30-ish years old, and this has her playing cello, singing, but she's also playing synth on this, and there's a little bit of trumpet, and there's other sort of like arrangements there. But it's a beautiful album, and one that I've come back to fairly often recently. It's a really lovely album. Mabe Frati. She's released quite a few records already. I think it's worth having a listen to, and I quite like it personally. I mean, I'm not making a very good case for it right now, but I think if you like ambient pop in general, you'd like this. This is very good.
Right.
Okay, my turn. The next one is another record. Is a comp actually, which I also found at Sonic Boom, not in their Peruvian section, in another Spanish-speaking country, which is Spain. And I'm talking about this one. This is This is a comp released by Bongo Joe, once again, great label, a Swiss-based label in Geneva, and means La Contraola, and if you translate in English, it means the counter wave. So it's interesting what happened in Spain back in the days, because because of the dictatorship, Franco, everything was kind of delayed. Their contribution to Prague came a little bit later. Their contribution to maybe this kind of stuff as well. And you can definitely feel a Spanish feeling in that music, in a way that it's not like depressing, it's not like dark, it's not like Manchester factory atmosphere made. It's definitely with a it has this Kraftwerk influenced, but it's minimal wave. It's like 2 LPs, right? Lots of obscure bands, or 2 LPs, but it brings joy to my to my place, which is really good, while remaining under the post-punk umbrella genre. So La Contraola.
Lovely. Yeah. Shall I show everyone them?
Yeah, stage is yours.
Okie dokie. Right. Okay. So this is a surprising release from an Irish folk band. It's a 12-inch single. There we are. And it's from, sorry about the glare, but it's coming in. So it's a cover of the Specials Ghost Town by the Irish folk band Blankham. And it's about 10 minutes long. And it's very strange. It's very dark, and the whole thing has been slowed down to an almost sort of funereal pace. And there's a video that goes with it, which you'll be able to sort of find on YouTube. But,
I'm very interested, because I love Ghost Town. It's one of my all-time favorite tracks. So
and there's a video. There's a video that goes with it, and that they're out in the wilds of Ireland, and there's a story there. Something is going on, but you never quite get to sort of to know what what all these people are doing. Out in the wilds. But it's just wonderful. And I mean, I felt I had to buy it anyway, because I absolutely love Blankham, and like you, Fred, I think Ghost Town is an absolutely fantastic song. I mean,
I've already, whilst we were talking, I've already opened a new tab on my computer with the, just to remind me to listen to it after the stream, which is
right.
I'll definitely listen to it, because
I
think it's one of the to me one of the key moments of that of British post-punk, quote unquote, of the, like, you could pinpoint a few moments where it's just got really, like, the level of craftsmanship has gone so high, and that's one of those moments. I reckon Ghost Town is just like that beat at the start, that it's the melody. It's so, and just to think it's about Coventry is
Well, I mean, if you'd ever been to Coventry, I think you would understand. I remember actually the first time that I went to Coventry by train, and I was having to go there, but when I was working, I had to sort of go and see somebody in Coventry. And I got off the train at Coventry, and I stepped outside of the station, and I was expecting there to be a city in front of me, but there wasn't. It was just a very sort of Spartan, sort of kind of decaying little suburb. And immediately I thought, I must have got off the train at the wrong station. This can't be the central station in Coventry. But you have to walk about 10 or 15 minutes to get to the city centre. And I mean, in those days, it wasn't much better. So sorry if there's anyone from Coventry sort of watching, but it wasn't at least back in that time. It wasn't the greatest city in the world. But you're right. I mean, Ghost Town is such a fantastic record, and this was the thing. I was part my sort of formative years, really. Sort of my teens, early 20s. And when suddenly sort of ska sort of hit the and particularly the whole two-tone thing sort of suddenly emerged, and it was fantastic. I mean, Madness and Specials, their debut albums were both released on the same day in 1979.
Yeah,
and it was a revelation. This was something. This was something really, really sort of different, and it sort of it carried on that whole sort of the kind of punk ethos, really, where they weren't beholden to obviously to big sort of record companies. It's a small group of people doing it for themselves, and I absolutely loved that time. And yes, I was I remember seeing Specials a couple of times, particularly at Lancaster University. I saw them, and they did an absolutely stunning version of Too Much Too Young. So so as I say, I love Lancome, I love Specials, so I had to get Ghost Town. Anyway, that's
I'll definitely listen to it. Definitely. Thank you. Yeah, I will listen to it after this video is done.
right.
Is it my turn?
yep.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'll talk about it very eloquently, but I got a reissue of this record. So if you get the original album, the cover is slightly different, but it doesn't. I don't really give a shit personally. I mean, the music is the music, and it's Tula German, and François Rabat. So for those who may not know either of those names, François Rabat, I'll start with him, is Egyptian or Syrian, I think Egyptian maybe, double bass composer, very much, if you're into Henri Texier, who that's my thumbnail for Big Star 1000 is Henri Texier, so it's in the same kind of ballpark, but maybe a bit more oriental. So he's Egyptian or Syrian, excuse me for my stupidity here, but he moved to France very early on, and he's basically French. I mean, he's lived in France for longer than anywhere else. And Tula German, she's a Turkish singer. So normally with François Rabat records, which I have a few François Rabat records, they're instrumental records where he uses the whole range of the double bass to, like, he plays it with a bow, and it's very experimental, and it's beautiful music. And he normally there's a little bit of percussion in the background. They're the kind of records that just people like me lose their minds over. This is quite a different record in the sense that she's a Turkish traditional singer, and she sings over, like, he's got these beautiful double bass lines and melodies, and then she sings traditional Turkish kind of like folk over the top of it, and everything is sung in Turkish. And this came out in 1980 originally. It was re-released in 2021, and it's just a blend of classical music and Turkish folk. It's beautiful. Like German and François Rabat. Yeah, beautiful record.
Excellent.
And this is a reissue that's quite easy to get, and I think you would both enjoy this. It's very, very lovely, spirited, uplifting music. Very, yeah. I couldn't compare it with anything else Turkish because it doesn't really sound. I goes to say like a bit like Selda, but Selda is like very psychedelic, and so I don't know what it compares to. It's more like if Turkish music sound a bit like bossa nova, something like that. You know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. Turkish bossa nova sounds.
No, but not quite. It's very sort of, yeah. It's beautiful folk song from Turkey, and
Excellent.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I think you included this one album in your feel good album. I think you.
Me?
Yeah. You
No.
you did respond to my thread to the feel good albums.
No, I didn't. No,
No?
not this one.
Okay.
No.
Maybe I'm mistaken. I really.
I spoke about it in a
Yeah.
last live stream in German.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
just
that's it.
completely. Okay. Okay, my turn. The next one is another record I bought at Sonic Boom in this folk section, and this is a reissue, and it's funny because on the same day, on my way to Toronto, 6 hours drive, I was listening to this online version of this album. So what a surprise! I'm stumbling upon a copy of the record at Sonic Boom of these War Sons.
Yeah.
Frost and Fire. And the reason I went to listen to this album online is when I noticed in this book, Electric Eden, there is a sort of turning point, 64, 65, when folk, there are even more and more albums. I think before there were lots of EPs, or it wasn't really like albums with 9 or 12 tracks, and from 64, 65 onwards. And I think that's probably perhaps one of the first album they dropped, Frost and Fire, the Water Sons, very important band. This is they were brother and sisters. We can say raised in poverty in northern part of England, singing a cappella, and the way they harmonize, it's brought something really like mystique to the table. Really enjoy this one.
Yeah. It's an interesting album, isn't it? Because it's a cycle of the year, isn't it? You know, it starts in winter and it finishes in winter.
And it's on the great topic.
Yeah.
Which you recommended to me, Mike, several times.
I mean, it's good. It's a good album. I mean, I like the Watersons. Yeah, I think they're, you know, they're one of the they're one of the bands, one of the groups of, you know, people that sort of really, you know, are very important in the English folk scene.
Oh yeah,
you know, I mean, really they're the first family of English folk, because of course Norman Waterson was married to Martin Carthy.
Yeah, and Martin still plays or still performs with his daughter, Eliza. There is this.
That's right. Yeah. Eliza Carthy.
Yeah. So that's yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Shall we? Yeah. Do you still have? I only pick up 3 albums, but if you had more.
Well, you know, I was thinking about, you know, we were going to talk about rabbit holes. Should we do that? If there are any?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
We've got some rabbit holes. The rabbit holes are. I'm more confident with that than new acquisitions, because I've got none.
well, yeah. Now then, this is one, and I really don't know how deeply I'm going to dive into this rabbit hole, quite honestly. But I do like the stuff, and just give you some context. My my mate Nick's Vinyl Botty, is very much a fan of Northern Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he was somebody that would go to the Northern Soul sort of all-nighters. He doesn't profess to be a dancer. He said he could never dance to the stuff, but he would love to listen to it. So I thought it would be nice if Nick could provide myself and Ian with a playlist of Northern Soul songs to listen to, and then we could chat about them afterwards. So Nick provided 20 songs, Northern Soul songs, and we listened to them. And I've really become quite interested in this stuff now. So again, I bought this at Leeds Record Fair. Keep the Faith, Northern Soul anthems, but Northern Soul compilations in the UK are really frustrating because there are so many of them, but they all tend to have the same songs on them. So there's probably about 30 odd songs on here, and probably if I picked up another Northern Soul compilation, probably 29 of them would be on that compilation as well. So you think you're spoiled for choice, but you're not really. It's just quite frustrating. But there were one or two tracks on here that Nick had actually recommended. There was Out on the Floor by Dobie Gray and The Snake by Al Wilson, two tracks that I really like. So just and I'm probably going to get this a little bit sort of wrong, or probably not sort of really explain it that well, but the difference between like soul music per se and a Northern Soul, and the difference seems to be that Northern Soul is about dancing. So if you can't dance to it, it wouldn't be played at a Northern Soul sort of all-nighter, basically. And they tend to be tracks that are not particularly not particularly well known. So although there will be some sort of Motown tracks there, some Philly tracks, some Stax, that's not that they don't sort of predominate in the pecking order, and it's more, as I say, records that are quite obscure. They might even be B-sides, and probably a really famous example of that is Tainted Love, Gloria Jones version of it. And that started off, apparently it was a B-side of a single that wasn't a hit, but it was picked up by people. There's a lot of a lot of the sort of music sort of literally was sort of physically brought across the Atlantic. So people working on cruise ships, for instance, that they would be continually sort of traveling across the Atlantic, that they would pick up records, and they would find their way into the UK. Then, ones that became popular would tend to be bootlegged. So there's lots of sort of unofficial record labels that have sort of Northern Soul tracks that would be sold, at the all-nighters, and I mean, Frida Payne, Band of Gold, that's one that everyone will know, isn't it? But it was just something that I really enjoyed listening to this stuff, and I thought, well, I need to get some, and I picked this one up. This is Wigan's Chosen Few, and it's a track called Footsie, which is an instrumental, and there's sort of You know, there's a picture there of
The Wigan Casino, isn't it?
Wigan Casino. Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice sort of like the guys are in their baggers, you know, and yeah.
It's kind of like the holy place for Northern Soul, almost the Wigan.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Wigan is the place, and the track on the other side of this is called 7 Days Too Long by Chuck Wood, which was another one that Nick recommended.
Yeah, I don't know much, but I don't know much about Northern Soul. I mean, I've got a very fleeting kind of like understanding of it, but when I was reading about it, you know, that was a place that was often named as like, you know, that was the Mecca.
Wigan Casino is the
Mecca for Northern Soul.
Absolutely, and you know, it's quite interesting because if you look on YouTube, there are quite a few videos of where people have sort of just taken a favorite Northern Soul track, and they put sort of footage on there, and quite a lot of it is footage of sort of, you know, quite sort of elderly people at an all-nighter somewhere, you know, probably in Wigan or wherever. So these are people. It's been their whole lives, you know, from their youth in the 1970s or 1980s, and they've kept with it, you know, for forever, and the scene's still going, and I find that amazing. You know, it's one of those subcultures that was never, you know, it never went mainstream in any way at all. It always remained very much a subculture.
Yeah.
You know, because even something like punk went quite mainstream, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's all about marketing, though. That's sadly, I think it's not. I think with punk it was marketed for, like, you know, if you think about the Sex Pistols, they're kind of a boy band before boy bands were a thing. No, but you know what I mean. Like there was a real campaign behind it, and you know, it was built that way. Whereas Northern Soul was always destined to be, you know, a bit less interesting, also because of its, you know, ethnic roots as well, and you know, like, you know, it's not white music, you know, like it is. I mean, I'm being very, but you got to be honest as well. It's like, you know, there's a bit of that in there too, I think.
But you know, Northern Soul is something that's obviously been kept alive by the people that like Northern Soul, and I think the other thing is that it's probably not a very easy genre to market anyway, is it? Because if the music is essentially you know, gems that people have found, you know, from the 1960s, early 1970s, you know, maybe, you know, B-sides of some obscure single that never sold, you know, then how do you market that? You know, so that's a bit of a godsend, really, isn't it? You know, keep the marketing men away from culture. I think that's the answer. But I'm really enjoying listening to some of this you know, Northern Soul music. So that's my rabbit hole at the moment.
Okay, I share with you guys a documentary I recently watched on YouTube, and this has been broadcasted by Arte, so the French-German TV channel, and touch base a little bit on the revival, or the new generation of young people. They discovered, they played on some events on All Night, Northern Soul, and they are really happy to find this 7. It's all about 7-inch singles, as far as I understood.
Absolutely.
So jumping back on the point you guys said about it's hard to do the marketing stuff. It is, because if you compare with punk punk was pretty much active in the sense that there were bands active playing punk in the UK. So, but Northern Soul was all about playing records, 7-inch you can dance to, that were produced in the US. They were not a booming scene of local artists. They will trying to mimic or doing or bring something to the table. So that's probably one of the reason, perhaps.
Yeah.
It stayed on this kind of level, but yeah. Okay, Fred.
Yeah, sure.
Rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. Yeah. My rabbit holes at the moment are divided between some really older things and some more recent things. I don't know why I'm into a 90s kind of phase in my I'll just listen to a lot of like 90s, and it's probably because I'm listening to certain podcasts online, and I just when you hear something and it's very inspiring, and you go, oh, I want to hear this again. I would recommend this podcast that I really like, which is called Talk 90s to Me. She's a journalist from an English journalist. Her name is Miranda Sawyer, and she
writes for The Guardian.
Yeah. She used to work for a lot of like music magazines, and she interviewed anyone. Famously, she interviewed Oasis when one of them said to her, I hope the people from Blur die from AIDS. Like it was a very famous kind of moment. It's like, wow, that's pretty extreme. Anyway, she's got this podcast, and every week she touches on a topic to do with the 90s. It can be anything. Like she's talking about fashion from the 90s. One episode is dedicated to Beckham and Victoria Beckham and David Beckham. Like there's a lot of different. But she had an episode recently on Björk, and I love Björk. And it sort of made me go back into Björk. I've been listening. So, in case you don't know, but I think Björk was in a multitude of bands before she was Björk. The Björk that we know. She started a career when she was like 11 years old. She made a first record when she was 11, and it sold, I think, 100,000 copies or 200,000 copies in Iceland, and she was barely 11, and it was just covers of songs. And then she got involved in so many bands. She was in a jazz fusion band. She was in a few punk bands, and then she formed the Sugar Cubes, which is the first kind of international breakthrough. By that time, she already had quite a career. When she formed this, she was like 19 or 20 years old. She'd been in the business of making music for 10 years. She's a child prodigy, basically. But anyway, this album is incredible. It's raw. It's it's full of like teenage energy, and it's very angsty, very angular. If you like bands like Sonic Youth or bands like Life's Too Good is amazing. And it came out on One Little Indian, which was to be a label for most of a release, and gave her a lot of creative freedoms. Birthday is a song on this, which is absolutely incredible. If you've never heard Birthday, it's the best birthday song that you could ever want. And then obviously we have Björk, the Björk. And my personal, I think for me, if I go back to Björk, I would always go back to Debut, because I think people think that this is a first solo album. Effectively, it's not, if you think of a career as a continuum, but it's the Björk that people know now. It's a first introduction to the world, and it's a really, really, really amazing record. I've listened to this hundreds of times. It's got Human Behavior, Venus is a Boy, you know, the great There's More to Life Than This, which is half recorded in a toilet. This is a stellar record. It goes between, you know, it's got this kind of house music sensibility, but it's mixed with this kind of art pop version. Obviously, if you want to dig deeper, I mean, Post is also amazing. It's just as good, I think, in many ways, with Army of Me and Hyper Ballad and Oh It's So Quiet. I mean, obviously, crap, everything fell. That doesn't matter. It can't fall any further. Then you know, Homogenic. Obviously, I've been revisiting that. You know, with Yoga and Hunter, it's really great. But one that I've been partially giving attention to is Vespertine, which is superb. I mean, I've just been into a sort of a Björk kind of, you know, rabbit hole, and it's a good rabbit hole to be in because the music is so incredibly creative. It's a bit like with a band like Radiohead, you know, you can always go back to it at a later period and just go, oh, okay, I want to spend time with, you know, whatever, the King of Limbs. I haven't heard that album for a while, and you discover things in there that you didn't know, well, you didn't realize were there, you know, or they're artists that are forever giving, you know, like you go back into it and you get a new perspective out of it. I think if you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm expressing that very well, but I love those kinds of rabbit hole rediscovering things, because you go, well, that's why I'm not buying new music, because I've got a ton of old music that I can really revisit, and it does energize me a lot to think about this, you know, to go back into it. But anyway, are you either of you fans of the Icelandic?
Yeah.
Barry?
I mean, like most people, particularly people in the UK that were listening to John Peel, you know, the Sugar Cubes were that was my introduction to Björk.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she's fantastic. I've got quite a few of her albums on CD, so
yeah,
I think what I'll do, because my CD player, I can load 6 CDs into it at one time. Maybe I should just load it up with Björk CDs and listen to them all back to back. But yeah, I've not listened to her for a very long time.
It's so there's a just incredible sophistication to her music, whilst at the same time being very open and accessible. It's this kind of you know, cognitive dissonance almost, where you think, oh, you know, it is arty, it is artistic, it is high concept, but then it's just pop music where you listen to you know, Bachelorette or I don't know, Army of Me, and it's just pop high, you know, like today we have this slew of pop singers that are huge, like Charlie XCX and or people like Chappelle Roan, or people where they're in the, and when you listen to their music and if you sum up what they're trying to do Björk Mark II. Like if you listen to Charlie XCX, like, okay, I've heard this before, but perhaps better, you know, perhaps in a more interesting way, you know. I mean, maybe I'm old, that's why. But anyway,
you're old.
Well, I mean, compared to the young people of nowadays, compared to a 20-year-old, I'm old.
Yeah,
clearly. But yeah, the new guy that sits next to me at work, got a new colleague. He's also music. It's great to have someone who loves music. He's 25, 26 years old, and he shows me his playlist and stuff, and this all this new pop, new things that he's, which is just as it's really interesting. And then I was talking to him about Björk and riffing off, and it's interesting where there's definitely a parallel somewhere, but that this music is still being used today to create music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Romu, Rabbit Hole.
Rabbit Hole, yeah.
We're gonna pick my records on the floor.
Sure. I do have I spend lots of time on the road. I've been spending for the past 3 years. So yeah, I have to confess, guilty as charged. I listen to lots of stuff online, so I don't have the physical format of those stuff yet.
Close the channel already.
Yeah, I know, but we were talking about Gang of Four, and yeah, it's this kind of indie rock, new wave, post-punk. Even the Sisters of Mercy is a good example of stuff I've been listening to intensely. Yeah, okay. I pick up one album to try to give an example of this new rabbit hole, these new bands I'm trying to discover. This is a VCLT from you, Mike.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you very much. We had talked about this album called George Best, which I really liked, and this is
who doesn't send you records, by the way?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's really appreciated. These are the a little bit earlier stuff, because George Best came in 87. This is 85, I think. Steve came in 85. So jangle pop with some ability to play really fast the guitar. So I would definitely put it in my rabbit holes of the moment. Indie rock. So yeah, the wedding present. Yeah.
They remind me of the Fall a bit, in some way. Like they've got this kind of jagged, angular guitar sound. Like I think, but if the Fall played indie pop, obviously.
Yeah.
Have you got a favorite wedding present, Mike? Or is it George Best, or is it?
It's George Best. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Is that because you're a Manchester? Is that because you're a closet?
No, I mean, the thing is, living in Leeds, Manchester United are sort of anathema, basically.
Yeah.
Particularly when Eric Cantona transferred from Leeds to Manchester United, that was a dark day.
Oh my God! Yes, true. Yeah. Because Cantona played for Leeds. I forgot, but you're right. Yeah.
When the seagulls follow the. You remember that quote?
When the seagulls follow the boats, is because they know that the
sardines will be thrown into the sea.
Into the sea, that's right. Cantona, though, to be serious, if we were making a top 5 of French footballers of all time, he would be in there. He's an amazing football player. It's a shame he couldn't keep his cool, but now he's an actor. Now he's like an actor, and everything is. I quite like him as a person. He's very
absolutely.
He's a very interesting kind of. He's got some very artistic ideas for a footballer.
Yeah.
What's your next rabbit hole, Mike?
What?
Your next? How about your next rabbit
My next
hole?
record. Should we go into the non-English folk stuff?
Let's go.
Yeah, if you want, I was just going to say I've got another small rabbit hole.
Go ahead, and then we'll.
Do that. Then we get onto the.
Okay, so my other small rabbit hole is also a 90s rabbit hole. and it's one that I would call British sad bastard music. No, well, it's probably redundant to say British and sad bastard next to each other, because that's what you do well. It's interesting because Miranda Sawyer on the podcast, she said something like British do pop really well and Americans do rock really well, which I would really agree with. It's a very pertinent kind of statement. And pop has got this ability to take us up or down. So I think pop is the, you don't get this with rock. Rock is energy, it's rage. As pop can be bittersweet, it can be mellow, it can be sad, it can be as much as it can be happy.
Feel good, yeah.
But anyway, look, I've been listening to some 80s British classics as a result. For example, I've rediscovered recently that Stone Roses album. Obviously, I mean, what can you say? It's a masterpiece. I mean, every song is like, if you're in a perfect album, in the scope of like how to make a perfect album and how were they going to follow this up ever is just impossible. So Stone Roses, obviously from Manchester, band led by guitar player extraordinaire John Squire and Ian Brown, with these very distinctive vocals. And by the way, Manny died recently, so that's a good way of. But yeah, I want to be adored. Waterfall, Made of Stone. I Am the Resurrection. It's just a fantastic debut album, fantastic record. Just kind of a blend of a lot of really incredible influences of the time. And I posted this picture when Romu said, were they by any chance influenced by the Beatles? Well, yeah, for sure. The Sundays are one of my all-time favorite records as well. They were a band from Bristol, I think, or somewhere in the west coast of England, and the singer was this pixie-voiced kind of goddess called Harriet Wheeler. And the Sundays were like, I mean, if the Smiths had children that were a bit happier and mellower, you got the Sundays, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows You're Not the Only One I Know, or Here's Where the Story Ends. It's very, very beautiful, bittersweet pop music, very sad. There's nothing about this that's joyous at all. It's kind of, it's sullen. It's got this kind of downtrodden quality, and very English, very, very English. This is not English, it's Irish, but it's in the same mold as this to me. I mean, these are they're almost, they exist in the same universe. The first Cranberries album is, for me, I mean, when I was at university in the mid 90s, I listened to this in heaps, a lot. I listened to this album. I subsequently bought the vinyl, probably, I don't know, 2017. So yeah, it was re-released on vinyl. I love this record. I know it off by heart, and I think, if the Smiths and the Sundays, had a baby, it would be called the Cranberries. And it's just a, indie pop, dream pop, just of the highest order, in my opinion. And then to finish with that British, the Cranberries not British, but melancholy kind of rabbit hole. I was playing the second Portishead, and it's interesting because with Portishead, this is an album that is often dismissed because Dummy was just so huge at the time, and even I remember at the time being the wave for that first record, and making a follow-up was very difficult for them. But I think they were very successful in doing so, because they, whilst keeping the formula of Dummy in terms of how they made the music and the compositions, they also started playing more live music. Like they because what's to understand about Dummy, you can make me small again, is how they composed that record. Was Jeff Barrow, who was obsessed with hip hop and wanted to use samples, and when you listen to the first record, you hear a lot of scratching, a lot of what people may or may not realize is that when Jeff Barrow was looking for samples, he decided from early on that finding samples was going to be a difficult endeavor, not to have to pay for rights for samples, because this is a post De La Soul era. De La Soul got sued by quite a few bands for using certain samples, and then after that, people got really iffy about using samples, because there was always a legal battle that you could face. So what he decided to do was to get the band to play a bit of funky-ish music, record it, press it onto vinyl, and then scratch that. Like, did you realize this? This is amazing.
I didn't know that.
So Portishead basically made their own samples. They actually played the music, they played tunes, and then pressed it onto their own vinyl, and then that's what Jeff Barrow scratches, which is, if you think about that process, it's a huge leap in terms of, and then you've got that voice of Beth Gibbons. It's just, I've seen them live twice. I've seen Portishead live in 2012, I think, after the third album. It's incredible. And I saw Beth Gibbons last year in Melbourne again, and she was to me, they're easily one of my top 5 favorite acts of all time. I just love the music, and when I go back into these records, it's great joy. I love them. Anyway, that was my sort of British melancholy rabbit hole of the moment.
Yeah, that was interesting. So apart from Stone Roses, it was all female vocalists, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I absolutely love the Cranberries, and I mean, no need to argue. I mean, the title track of that album, yeah. But the title track is absolutely one of my favorite songs of all time.
I'm obsessed at the moment with. Sometimes there's one song that you obsess over, because it's just. I go through phases. There was a moment where I couldn't get, for example, Back to Stay from Bridget St. John out of my head. It was just stuck there in a loop. At the moment, there's this song on it called Ridiculous Thoughts.
Yeah.
Which is, I can't stop singing. That's that song is just kind of stuck in a loop in my head at the moment. It's just really
that's right. Yeah.
I can't even take it out. It's until the next song comes along or whatever it is. But it's a formidable song. And these are albums that in the mid-90s when I was a student. When I went to university, I lived on campus in Mulhouse, where Romu comes from, and we were a community of young people, and we all shared music and stuff. And I think there was three or four of us. We listened to the Cranberries obsessively, it was kind of the sound of the moment. And I can picture myself when I listen to this music. I can see myself in my uni room with my friend. I can see it,
right.
It's a time machine, and I still to this day love this music because there is nothing more powerful than nostalgic music. It's as simple as that. Nostalgic music is the most powerful thing that grips you in your core, and you can't. It's very difficult to resist.
Yeah.
We try to discover new things and be excited by new things, but push comes to shove. That's why a lot of people do not move on. A lot of people stay with their music that they had when they were like 14, 15, 16 to 20 years old. They never ever move on because it's got such a tight grip on us, because it's associated with so many formative memories, and and youth is such a key part of our lives. And then people just get sort of stuck in this kind of loop, whereas we have gone, okay, we can do better. We can listen to other music as well.
Yeah, but it's still lovely, isn't it, to sort of go back to something that you can remember where you were when you were listening to this stuff, and that's that's a really precious thing, I think, to be able to do that.
Anyway, should we move to folk music? Sorry for that.
Yeah. So non-English.
Now the first one. I would say it's folk music, but not as we know it. And because you mentioned the wedding present, I thought I need to show this one. There you go. It's the Ukrainians. So this is the Sex Pistols as Ukrainian folk music, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Ukrainians were made up of largely of members of the Wedding Present.
Okay.
Yeah, they also did an EP or mini album of Smith's covers as well, again as Ukrainian folk music. So you've got as you say, Anarchy, God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, Holidays in the Sun, Problems, God Save the Queen again, and Anarchy again. And this is a fantastic album. I really love this. And I would say it's definitely folk music, but it's it's the Sex Pistols, as I say, as Ukrainian folk musicians. And I love it. I absolutely love that one.
Yeah, that's nice.
This time, because I've just talked about my rabbit hole, maybe we can return to a rotation that's more logical on screen. So Romy, you can go next, and then I can go after that, and then we're in the order of the screen, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Romy, you go. Romy, your turn.
My turn. Okay. I will making a shout out to Quebec, the province, the French-speaking part of Canada, where I've been. It's been nearly 4 years since I moved here, so gave me a little bit of time to explore what was available in terms of secondhand records, in terms of crossover folk, classical music stuff, and it occurred to me that Ireland has a little bit not shaped the way that folk music is here in Quebec, but there is these fun stories about ships or boat that sinks, a couple of yards before the coast, and people could only save the light instruments that were floating. They couldn't save the large piano, obviously, so they could save the flute or the violin, the keys that were floating, and it shaped a little bit what we can find in Gaspésie, for instance, which is a very, very, very where the boat, they came from UK, from Ireland. So lots of stuff from Ireland has been, colored the music here, and we have a plenty of examples. So I just made a quick selection of stuff like this one, for instance. This is from Quebec City, Arthabasca, La Montée des Trois Sources. And
I used to have this record. I don't have it anymore. Yeah, I know this record.
And it's the perfect. It's some beatniks, mid-70s, classically trained people. You always have violin, flute. It goes in this direction where you don't know it is folk, it is classic, it is proggy because of the extended sections. This one as well, which is a little bit more classic, with some how do you say hautbois in
Oboe.
oboe? Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oboe, yeah.
This one, which is also interesting, I just found a copy. Band comes from a Saguenay, and yeah, it goes also in this. You can see how many people are involved. It's simply amazing. Fun fact with this album: Chris Cutler, who had played with a rock in opposition, Henry Cow, discovered this album in the early 80s in Brussels in a store. By the time the band has already disbanded, so it gives a little bit, resurrection. This album was re-released, reissued in Europe. So yeah, it goes in the folk territory, classical music. They all sing in French, obviously, and plenty of example. This one you can find pretty easily. Connivence.
I used to have that too.
Yeah.
I don't have
So,
it anymore. Really.
Yeah, and this one is more pop, I would say. Aquarelle. Yeah, those are the stuff you can find. So with classically trained people, and have this something in common. So vive le Québec.
Right.
I used to have quite a few of those records, but I don't have them anymore because I'm lacking space, and I wasn't listening to them, so I sold them over time. But it's interesting to see Aquarelle and Arthabasca and Connivence as well, which years ago, probably, around 10 years ago, I used to have those albums. Yeah, that's nice too.
You can find pretty much easily over here, so it's
not over here. I've not heard of any of those. Yeah,
but only in Quebec. I think you won't find this, or a couple of. It depends in Toronto, but yeah, mainly here in Montreal or in Quebec City, you find this record all over the places, in thrift stores, in au 33 Tours, so the regular secondhand vinyl record stores. But yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be a bit basic, but is an album that I've rediscovered or played a couple of times last week, just because I just felt like it. It's one of the greatest ever records when we talk about one type of folk, which is, I mean, it's more country than folk, if you will. But for me, Townes Van Zandt is the American Nick Drake. No more, no less. I mean, I think his tragic story, the genius in what he left us, I mean, he made more albums than Nick Drake, granted, but it's got this kind of timeless quality, absolutely mercurial songwriting. I mean, on this, you've got, for the sake of the song, the amazing Waiting Around to Die, which is probably my favorite Townes Van Zandt song. And so this is a reissue from a few years back on Fat Possum, because originals of these are probably quite difficult to get, but it sounds really nice. I mean, it's not a bad at all reissue. The classic kind of interior shots with him at his desk, and it reminds me of Nick Drake in that way as well, because it's trying to make, or to source beauty in the mundane, in things that are just like everyday.
Yeah,
I think I love Townes Van Zandt. I mean, I'm not the only one, but since I'm talking about Townes, it's worth maybe talking about other singer-songwriters that are less famous and that play the same kind of music. I don't know if either of you have heard this record before, but I think you would really love it. Willis Allen Ramsey, who's an American singer-songwriter, he made only one record, and it's on the same label, I think, as it's on Shelter Records, which was also the label from J.J. Cale. J.J. Cale made quite a few records on Shelter, and I love J.J. Cale. I think that sort of brand of sort of swamp rock, country, folk, it's a mixture of things with JJ Cale. His first album, Naturally, which is also on Shelter, is one, again, if I'm going to pick some of my all-time favorite records, the first JJ Cale, Naturally, is amazing, with Magnolia and Call the Doctor. These kinds of really amazingly simple, very simply composed songs, but beautiful. So with Willis Allen Ramsey, we have a blend of J.J. Cale, Townes Van Zandt, and Gene Clark, and Dasley. So you've got this. It's an album that is, I think it's easy enough to. I mean, it's been pressed enough. Like, it's been pressed in Australia, which is why we've got copies here of this record. It's an Australian version of it. But if you ever come across this, I think there's this song called Ballad of Spider John, the first song. If you want a good example, this is fantastic. But you know, like Painted Lady is amazing. I mean, it's a beautiful country folk record with there's pedal steel, bass drums, electric guitar, piano. So it's a very full band. It's very, very cool. So I just thought, you know, two records that are kind of related to one another, you know, and I think it was worth mentioning them.
I mean, there's quite a few Townes Van Zandt albums have been reissued quite recently.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I had at my feet, I also had this one, which is fantastic, which is a beautiful record too. But to complete the trilogy, Townes Van Zandt, Willis Allen Ramsey. I don't know if you've ever heard this dude as well. This is fantastic too. Steve Young. It's called Rock, Salt and Nails. Again, we're in the same universe, sonically speaking. We have a mix between that kind of Townes Van Zandt, but with a more, I mean, he's called Steve Young, so excuse me, but with a more Neil Young kind of approach as well in there. If you build a bridge between Townes Van Zandt and Neil Young, you would have Steve Young, squarely speaking. It's got a more countrified sound. I mean, Gene Clark again comes to mind if you think of Gene Clark's solo records, which Romu loves. And I'm showing these records for Romu because I know you would love this. This would be up your alley, 100%. It's a classic kind of that sort of LA country folk, country blues. You know, it came out in 1970. Oh gosh, I don't even know. He called on the liner notes, right? It name checks Dylan Clark, Graham Parsons, and the Flying Burrito Brothers, Gene Clark, Dave Jackson. He actually name checks all these bands there, so you can see where he's coming from. Okay,
excellent.
Steve Young, I don't think I've shown this record a whole lot, but I think it's worth having a listen, and I think you both would enjoy this. But Willis Allen Ramsey's, that's an extraordinary album in my opinion. It's very beautiful.
Yeah. The thing about that Willis Allen Ramsey album is that the cover it was something. It would just pass me by.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine that there's a decent record inside that cover.
Yeah, I know.
It's not great, is it?
Looks like any random album by David Essex.
Yeah.
Sorry. The cover, the layout. So
not judging.
Yeah,
I mean the back's not so bad, but the front cover is just not great.
Yeah, just a bit of sort of countrified folk, US, you know, just for a bit of diversity.
Yeah, right then. Back to some counting stuff. So, do you guys know Horslips?
Horslips, yeah, I know Horslips, Irish
Yeah.
band,
Yeah, quite an interesting band. So, are they a folk band? Are they a prog band? Are they both? But I find it quite interesting the way that the reason why the band sort of formed in the first place is that three of the members of Horslips, before they formed the band, were working in advertising. And back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a brand of Irish lager called Harp, and it was everywhere in the UK, and it was pretty awful stuff. It was not great lager. But anyway, Harp were doing an advertising campaign, and they wanted to do an advert that was inside an Irish pub, and they wanted a band playing in the pub. And so the three members of Horslips that were in this advertising agency, they said, well, we'll be the band. And they got this other guy and a friend of theirs who was a keyboard player. And so they posed as an Irish folk band in a pub for an advert. And then afterwards, they decided that they liked being in a band so much that they might as well do it for real. So this is Horslips. And as I say, they're quite proggy, but they're also sort of folky. And this is this album called The Tane, came out in 1973, and it's got very sort of traditional instruments on here. So you've got flutes and whistles on here. You've got the Ilium pipes that are often called the union pipes as well, which are sort of a bellows driven bagpipe. So rather than blowing into it, it was that you pump it with your elbow, and then sort of part of the percussion you've got to the badran and everything, and you've got fiddle, mandolin in there, sort of concertina. So it's all it's got all the accoutrements of sort of folk music. And this album is it was music that they were asked to write the music for a stage production of The Tane, which is a 10th century mythological sort of Irish story that was written in Old and Middle Irish, and it portrays a sort of war between the counties of Ulster and Connaught. And so they did the music. They did the music to that, and it's really quite good because sometimes it's sort of it strays off very much into sort of rock and prog, and then it comes back to sort of folk music again. And I find that I find this album quite sort of intriguing, really. So another of their albums. And this one was like 3 years later, 1976. And there it is.
I used to have this. I don't have it anymore. The Book of Invasion. Yeah, I know this record. It's very good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this album is more. It's more folky than the Tane. And again, it's based on 10th century. Irish legend, and but again, it's a mixture of prog and folk. But as I say, this one's a bit more sort of folky.
It's a little bit in the sort of same. It exists in the same kind of universe as Fairport Convention. In
a way, absolutely, yeah. It's not pure folk. And then somebody that you'll know, obviously.
From Incredible String Band,
String Band,
yeah. So this is this again. This was written in this came out in 1983, and it was written again for a theatrical performance that was performed in Welsh and English, and it was performed in in the ruins of Carnarvon Castle in Wales. And again, this is Welsh, mythological stories from way back, from pre-Christian, really, before the Norman conquest. Yeah. And it's really the whole thing itself, the Mabinogi, is sort of very much a collection of stories, and it's about a sort of the progress of sort of a young man, and it's his adventures, really. And and the music on this is absolutely fantastic, and it's all Robin Williamson. He plays so many of the instruments on this as well, and it's it's a fantastic album, and
the Incredible String Band is a fantastic connection or transition to the stuff I'm about to show. I will giving a shout out to my country, region of origin, the place where I was born, which is Alsace, a territory through the history divided between France and Germany. So the dialect sounds German to the French people. It's not German, it's a dialect, and this is what is interesting with some French region that have a strong identity, like Brittany, Corse. They all have in common, you have to have a dialect. And I picked up several albums by Alsatian groups, band, whatever. This one, Geranium, for instance, folk band from the southern part of Alsace, which is a little bit uncommon because lots of bands were formed in Strasbourg up north. So it goes in this territory, Middle Age a little bit. I don't know how to Épinette des Vosges. I don't know how to translate this in English, but massively inspired by Incredible String Band. This is another example, concept album, puppet theater, a little bit gloomy, but still with this very iconic. Whenever you go to do a party in Alsace, you can hear this instrument all over the place. And this guy called René Egles, traditional singer-songwriter. It's all about folk. It's all about acoustic guitar and his voice. So inspired by Bob Dylan, by Leonard Cohen, I would say, almost. Yeah. And Incredible String Band, as I say, you see this guy who just have listened to these people by sing and not try to duplicate, but so some texture, some this boing this songs that comes a little bit often, and singing in Alsatian dialect. So that's a folk from Alsace.
Yeah. Yes, I remember when you talked about Geranium before, and whether it was just the two of us talking about it or whether it was on a live stream, I can't remember. But they really intrigued me at the time, and I think I need to learn a bit more about this stuff.
That surprised me because I had never heard of them. Those all are kind of band young generation are not really into this traditional Alsatian folk. It might sound a little bit silly, a little bit old fashioned, and pretty much all the bands comes from Strasbourg up north, and the dialect is a little bit different. It's 98% it's the same, but some words, some pronunciation are not the same. And I read an article in newspaper, in the local newspaper online, from the place where I come from, that says that this band was celebrating his 50th years of career. Got me curious, so I made some research, and I was, that's a band formed in my hometown. I wasn't really aware, and as it happens, I could source a couple of records on Discogs, and my father brought it to me when he came over. So and it's not stuff I listen to every day, but it's I think it's part of the nostalgia once again, maybe because I'm not living in I don't live in France any longer, so sometimes it's good to hear this accent, this language, this instrument that reminds me when I was kid and my grandmother plays, silly as it can sound, but yeah, it's part of the game, I guess. Sorry, enough talking. Fred, you're
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. I really need to. I really need to listen to some of that stuff.
Okay, well, I'm next, apparently.
Yep.
Okay, well, I've sort of rediscovered this record recently. I mean, I don't really watch much VC, but I came across one video from Dylan, Noble Records. I mean, how can you not come across, when you search vinyl communities, his videos are very, very, the referencing of his videos is huge. So I'm not subscribed or anything, but I occasionally watch a video too. And he's done a series on record collectors he went to LA and he did this whole it's quite interesting. He just have you seen, Romu, this series? Have you?
No, I don't. I used to follow him back in the days when he started,
Well,
but
it's quite interesting. He went to LA on a trip and
Yeah.
he interviewed several big time record collectors, and just for that they show the records that they really love. It's really, really interesting to see them talk about their record. And one of the episodes, he talks, I can't remember who the record collector was. It doesn't matter. They're not celebrities or anything. They're just like people like you and I. But one of the collectors he interviewed talked about this record. And I've had this record for a while now, and I sort of had forgotten about it, and it made me listen to it again. I discovered this record through a book on private press albums. So in America, there's this whole industry of albums. You can make me small for a while. I don't like being big by myself. I just make me small for a second. So does it? I don't. It's just makes me a bit jittery. So in America, there's this whole industry of people pressing the records themselves and just making very few copies, and a lot of them are pretty ordinary. A lot of them are pretty bad, but there's a few records that got made that have obtained kind of classic status, over the years, and this is one of them. It's an album that he self-made in 1974 or something like that, and he pressed 500 copies or something to start with, or something, or even less than that. And the originals are worth a lot of money now. And it is one of, well, it's been described as the first psychedelic country album ever made, or something on along those lines. It's very, very fuzzy, psyche, but it's really, really weird as well. It's what you would call outsider music. It's completely off the sort of like the things he sings about. He's kind of obsessed with sex, religion, and politics and death, and he just has this really weird high-pitched voice. Somebody in the Acid Archives described him as the Van Gogh of country music or something like this, which is and is also very openly gay. Kind of, he's got there's that kind of sub theme as well, and LGBT kind of like before its time. And it's called The Unicorn. And this version here that I bought back in when was this? It was re-released by Subliminal Sounds. I want to say probably about 8 years ago or something. Collects these two records actually. There's there's the Unicorn, and then there's Garden of Love. So it's his other album, Garden of Love. And so he's a country singer, but with a very, very psychedelic kind of approach, and really, 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 outside the norm. Like if you think of people like Daniel Johnston, who in the 80s and 90s made really weird kind of like mentally ill type of like outside of folk music. This is not quite, but it's a forefather of that kind of music. Peter Grungen, and it's totally of the scale of what you could picture as normal music, but it's an acquired taste for sure. It really is an acquired taste.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the name of Skip Spence going through my head at the moment.
No, not quite. I'll show you something. Hang on 1 second.
It's funny. Grudgen is Polish for December.
Really?
So, yeah, his name means December in Polish.
All right.
So a few years ago, I bought this. This is a really great book. It's called Enjoy the Experience, Homemade Records. And it's literally what it is. It's like people making... so this is really famous, for example, the Shags.
Yeah.
Famously, three sisters who couldn't play music at all, but their father was convinced that they were geniuses. And when you listen to the Shags album, which I have as well, it's like it's like they're playing three different songs at the same time. The drummer plays a rhythm which is not in sync with the bass, which plays a rhythm, and a melody line which is not really in sync with the guitar. Like, you feel like these three sisters have just got into a room and they've all said, we're going to play a different song each. And it's really like that. Yeah. But anyway, the book is interesting because it goes in depth.
This is what was happening in lots of companies I used to work at, but only.
So it just shows you the history of private pressing, like from a kind of like there's. Hang on, let me just, because I'm just trying to run just a really like a compendium of the very bizarre things that came out in America but some of those albums are really, really celebrated. They're quite collectible. Another one that comes to mind is the album by some of them are quite well known. There's this. Hang on, let me just give me a second because I don't know which page. No, forget about it for the minute. But for example, stuff like this, where you got exactly the same cover, they would just use the same cover, and because that private press, often they just put it out, whichever way they could. It was just music, okay? And it's like, but sorry, I'm just not very effective this morning. But there's a couple of records that are well regarded and interesting, but I just can't think of what they are right now because it's too early in the morning. I'm sorry. But Peter Grungen, very much discovered in this book by buying this book when it came out. Yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Right, let's have something African, eh? So, right, this is Fatoumata Diawara, and this is, I think it's her third album. It's called Fenifo, Something to Say, and it's an absolutely excellent album. And I'll show you. This is her debut album.
I have this album, Mike. I have it and love it. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And I think she's from Côte d'Ivoire, but she's from this sort of area where sort of Côte d'Ivoire, Mali, and Guinea sort of bordering.
I thought she was from Mali, but yeah, you might be right.
Yeah,
because
it possibly, possibly it's Uma Sangari, who's from Cote d'Ivoire, but I could be wrong. But it's that sort of little area, and it's a sort of ethnically, it's sort of it's a sort of group called Wasulu, and there's particular type of music, and it's music that's almost exclusively sung by women, and the sort of subject matters of sort of this sort of music, it tends to sort of feature songs about fertility, about childbearing, and about polygamy as well. And so it's quite sort of unique sort of music. I mean, it's very sort of identifiably sort of West African music, and one of the sort of instruments that they use that's used a lot is a Camelan ngoni, which is a harp. It's a 6 strings harp. And it's got this sort of lovely sort of melodic sound to it, and so these artists, as say, there's Uma Sangari, and this is
that's on no format, which is a great label, by the way. Just
yes, it is. Yeah.
Brilliant.
It is an absolutely brilliant label. So there you go. So that's the.
And so the new Fatoumata Diawara is you like it, you dig, it's good.
Yeah.
Is it much like the first one, or is it different?
They're very similar. They're very similar. I think this one is probably, how would I describe it? A bit more rootsy, I think.
It's a beautiful record. It is a beautiful record.
I think that maybe maybe with this one that she's reaching out to a sort of Western audience a little bit
more polished. Yeah.
But that's not to detract from it, because it's an absolutely fantastic album. And I would recommend.
It's great to spotlight it anyway. It's great to bring attention to it.
Yeah. So that's it. So again, there's a lot of this music, but I think sort of when you kind of start discovering sort of music from sort of Africa, I think you find that almost without exception that musicians sort of that they fuse all sorts of musical styles into their music. There's very little, from the sort of commercial artists, that there's very little, I think, that you would say this is sort of, a pure example of a certain genre.
Yeah.
But, absolutely, as I say, absolutely love these albums. They're really, really good. And I mean, particularly Fatoumata Diawara, she's got a lovely voice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Okay. Then, as for the next one, we are going to the eastern part of Europe, the Balkanic, and this is an album. Yeah, I paid $10. It's an OG, something you can find, I think, relatively easily whenever you are. This is Hungarian folk music. And that's
nice.
That's a no-brainer. It has everything that I like. It blends a little bit the folk from the Western, from Ireland. With she has my God, she has such a great voice. With the more traditional Balkanic, you can hear a lot of violin played like really freaky, frenetically. It's mystical at the same time. It has epic moments. That's a truly gems as a folk album, Musicas. So from Hungary. So yeah, highly recommend.
yeah. I mean, Music House is one of those bands that you do see quite a lot, and their albums are always really, really inexpensive. You know, they're in the bargain bins, and they shouldn't be really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a discussion I often had behind the scene with all of my VC friends. And that includes obviously you two guys. That is, how can you how can you value a record when you see it's a $5, it's a $3, it's in great conditions. We are on the lookout for for a James, a Grail, something rare. When you see something and you see it pretty much everywhere, and you see it for $5, it's really hard to to think, okay, that must be some kind of a value, but other value than the price tag which has been putting on. And some of the reason is because folk is I think it's still a genre you can really have. It's not like psych rock, like garage rock, like all this kind of sought after stuff, where everyone is crazy about in the VC. And there are still stuff to be discovered, I think.
Yeah,
stuff people don't really value at their. Yeah.
No. I think I think psychedelia sort of suffers, to the other extreme. That so many sort of rare sort of psych albums are massively overpriced, I think.
Yep.
But lots of people collect them, and I think a lot of these albums are probably rare because they're not very good.
Probably.
I mean, I'm talking about the psych albums. You see so many, and they're always really, really expensive.
Yeah. Collectability and quality sometimes intersect and sometimes not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why popular albums are popular. Often is because they were quite good to start with, and it's. I mean, it's a debate we can have forever and ever. As some people reckon that, something that's rare and expensive is, the grails or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in that. I think good music is good music, and you can enjoy as much a Paul McCartney record as you would a Peter Grunge record for different reasons. And
I think, Fred, if a record is worth listening to, in your opinion, then it belongs in your collection.
Exactly.
If it doesn't, it doesn't belong in your collection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Should I go?
Sure. Yeah.
Here's an album that I don't think has been discussed very often. This is Elizabeth Cotton. And she's one of the most influential folk blues singers ever, really. This was released on Folkways, obviously. She's kind of like the godmother of American primitive music, in uncertain terms, because her finger style had a huge influence on the folk scene that followed. She was born, I think, in 1913 or something, very early on, and she was self-taught on the guitar and was part of this sort of sub movement called Piedmont blues, which is where the guitarist played in a sort of ragtime. It's to mimic kind of ragtime piano with the thumb playing the bass. So it's very technical kind of, which she learned very early on, and then for years and years, so she made this music, and for years and years she stopped making music until she bumped into a little child in the supermarket who happened to be Peggy Seeger. She was about 10 years old or something, and she began working for the Seeger family as a housekeeper. And then obviously this led to her songs being covered by the Seeger family, but then Bob Dylan and all sorts of people. If you look this up, her music was discovered and rediscovered by a whole lot of people who made Joan Baez covered some of the songs. Dylan, the Seegers were obviously converts to her music, but how interesting that she bumped into Peggy. Like she helped a kid in the supermarket and then ended up working as a housemaid for the Seeger family, who is the make me small, who is royalty in the in the American folk tradition. They're really the top of the pecking order, basically. And this is beautiful folk blues, just to make it simple for everyone. It's folk blues sung with, she's got this beautiful like bluesy voice, but the guitar picking is exquisite. Like she could really play, and she really, I think John Fahey was her fingerstyle was a huge influence on American primitive. Like I think she would be the godmother of American primitive music. And so, in fact, since I'm talking about American primitive, we're talking about people like, people like this guy here, Robbie Basho. He was 2 installments of the Falcon's Arms. These are records that are quite difficult to find, but they're beautiful. So Robbie Basho was, again, was one of the creators of that style that I talk about so often, American primitive, which is basically raga, Indian raga, and bluegrass and blues and folk, and sort of mixed together into a blend of like acoustic fingerstyle music. You could also drop the name of Sandy Bull in there. That's a fantastic, excellent psychedelic album, actually, this album here. A Pluribus Unum, where he plays the oud, the electric guitar, the bass, he plays everything, and just makes, it's 2 songs, actually. No Deposit, No Returns Blues. So electric guitar, bass drum, oud, tambour, hi-hat, cowbell. It's all him playing. And then again, side 2, he's just does a multi-track, and this is American primitive, but in a psychedelic kind of mode. This is a great album, actually. Not easy to find, obviously, and you can see it's a well-worn original, this one, but it's if I'm on a track here, I'll just talk about one more album whilst I'm here. Here is an album that is super cheap, has American primitive hallmarks, and blends folk and American primitive in a really seamless way. And it's this record here. These records are a dime a dozen. You can find them for $5 anywhere. Bruce Cockburn is a Canadian singer-songwriter. And do not dismiss those records if you see them. This is fabulous. I mean, his guitar playing, his melodies, his singing, it's just like, these are records you could find anywhere. Like here, you can find them for $5-10. In the Falling Dark is an absolute fabulous. It's a fabulous record, in my opinion. So you could do worse than getting this. And there's some songs there that really recall that sort of like Faye like inventivity, whilst mixing it with a sort of Leonard Cohen kind of songwriting sensibility. Yeah, hello, Sean.
Yeah.
Any comments? Any thoughts? Any? But
I never saw you already talked about this one, and I went on Discogs, and I never saw this one into the wild.
That's so easy to find.
Toronto. So yeah, I'm still on the just keeping my eyes open. I know, yeah, you already mentioned it.
Yeah,
For some reason.
I didn't know him at all. Yeah, I mean, the American primitive guitar is something that I'm getting more and more into. You know, particularly, talking to you quite often, Fred. You know, it sort of keeps it at the forefront of my mind. You know, but I mean that I know of Elizabeth Cotton, but I don't think I've ever heard her.
Yeah.
So
if people talk about Son House and Robert Johnson, and which to me are amazing, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Mississippi John Hurt, Charlie Patton. These are major influences on modern music, like really super duper important. If those 4 or 5 people I've named it, but I think I would drop her in there as well. She is hugely influential, but nobody knows about it really. I mean, like very few people do. And the fact that she was so associated with the Seegers, it makes it really fascinating that she stops playing music, then she meets the Seegers, and then music just becomes it's
just a happy accident, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That otherwise, she probably would have gone through the rest of her life without recording anything else. Yeah. So people who play the harp. How about that?
People play the harp. Yeah, we like people play the harp. Who have we got there?
This is harpist. I mean, she's a multi-instrumentalist, but she's best known as a harpist. She's called Kerry Safana, and this is her album Angel, which I think came out at the back end of last year. And it's an absolutely brilliant record. It's not, it's not traditional folk music. It's, she's a singer-songwriter. She's got an absolutely lovely voice, and she plays the Welsh triple harp, and the triple harp has got, instead of having sort of one row of strings, it's got three rows of strings in parallel. So yeah, she's I only discovered her sort of quite recently, and as I say, she's got a wonderful voice. She's she writes her own stuff. I think it's all, I don't think it's anything. Oh yeah, there's a track here called Andro, which is a traditional. Sorry about the glare. Which is a traditional track. It's the track 5 there. There's 1 or 2, I think, traditional ones there. But she's just wonderful. I absolutely love this album, and I'd sort of and so I thought I'd drag out somebody about the only French sort of folk musician that you can find everywhere in the UK, and of course Alan Stivell.
Alan Stivell, Breton King.
Yeah, so there's a lot of. I mean, it's Breton, isn't it, rather than French?
Yeah.
It sounds, it sounds very Celtic. I mean, if you were to say, well, he was an Irish musician, then you could believe that, because the music fits very nicely into the sort of the Celtic tradition on this side of the English Channel. So I love this album as well. It's the renaissance of the Celtic harp, and I've got 3 or 4 of his albums now, and I love every one of them. And probably you guys can probably tell me more about him than I can really talk about anyway.
I mean, he was at the forefront of the Breton music revival in the 70s. He was pretty much doing for music in Brittany what Fairport Convention were doing for British folk music at the time in the 70s. You know, it's really revivalist. It's one of his albums. This is great, but one of his albums.
Yeah.
The name escapes me right now.
Yeah, make me full again. I just noticed you had to go away, Robert, just so you know who we're talking about.
Yeah, one of his records is a concept album on Brittany, and the name of the album escapes me. Just gives me a second. I'm just going to look
from Alan Stivell.
Yeah, there's one album which is, if you find it, I no longer have it because of space issues, and it's an album dedicated to Discogs. Okay, just give me a second. I will get to it. And it is that's this. It's called Rauque de l'Estra, Avant d'accoster, and it is a concept album on Brittany as a place. You know, like it goes through like you know, the Norman invasion, like it talks about all this kind of, but it's really well arranged and produced, and it's almost proggy. It's more prog rock than anything else. Yeah, and it's his album from 1977, so it's a bit later. Yeah.
As I say, I really like his stuff, and I do see it all the time. You know, which is quite a surprise, really.
To me, it's a little bit a product of the May '68. You know, the event,
right?
The Ray Shatter, France back in the days. These students riot, and one of the slogans or speech, that kept in mind was free the speech. And by free the speech, lots of people thought, hey, we have a dialect, we have an identity, so we should be proud of that. And Breton was no slouch, so they were. You can find this record pretty much everywhere. This Olympia live in Paris, and this was
I have that one,
at the time when lots of Breton people were already settled in Paris, but in Rome you do like the Romans, so they forgot about their identity, and I think it was also the starting point of this Breton culture. They were suddenly proud of their origin and stuff, and my turn, I guess.
Yeah.
So staying in France with a pressing from the US. This is I have to mention this one first of all because it's really easy to get a hold of a copy over here. That's released on the Rounder Records. That is a folk label, as you know. Pierre Bensoussan, so Près de Paris. Virtuosity, every stages. Works really well as an ensemble, as I often mention. Lots of virtuoso guitar player. Sometimes it sounds to me as like a demo, but in this case, it's really it goes in every possible direction. Oriental, the picking technique, the melodic. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, on the Rounder label. Records. So in France, it looks a little bit different. I know the cover is black. If you stumble upon a French pressing, but here in North America, it's a $5 records. And once again, no brainer. Yeah. So we have some comment here. So let's consider them.
Yeah. Well, you're in the right country to find them. He's in America, so probably easier to come by than I did here. But it's a bit easier.
Breton, where some of the
Nova Scotia,
Yeah, that's right. Cape Breton. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
where there are big sailors. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay,
Fred.
I'll go next. I'll talk a little bit about this guy. I don't know if you've come across Master Wilburn Burchett. I've got some of his records here. I've got 3 of his albums. I mean, just the it says everything. I mean, he was kind of a mystic who played. So again, we're talking about private press territory, where this guy used to publish his own ads in a couple of papers advertising his own records, and it was all mail order, and it's all hand drawn covers, and it's like absolutely 100% self-made music. And this guy was kind of fascinated with Tibetan philosophy and Buddhism and the paranormal, the trance-inducing. So he made music for relaxation, which is kind of a bridge between electronic music and electroacoustic music. And so here you've got a brand of folk which resembles a little bit American primitive if it was crossed with krautrock, for example, because it's got this very sort of trancey kind of, we talked about Ashra Temple before. Like if you crossed Manu Goching with John Fahey, you probably get Wilburn Burchett. These records are now really easy to get because they were reissued by the Numero Group about last year or the year before, and they reissued everything by Wilburn Burchett, and it's trance-inducing music for relaxation. You can make me smaller, which you could put in the background, and it just creates moods. It's like kind of new agey ambient cosmic music with a lot of beautiful effects, and it's designed for. He died not very long ago, actually. He was found. Him and his brother were found in their house in California, dead for days. They've been dead, both of them. Nobody really knows what happened to them. But yeah, his records have been reissued, and I would highly recommend the debut. I think that's the debut album. Opens the gates, the 7 gates of transcendental consciousness. The title tells you everything you need to know, like mind storm. I mean, these are they're beautiful records, and that you can get them quite easily, I think, now, because of the reissue. And color book inside. Let's have a look at the color book inside, just for the amusement of it. Here, there you go. This is what this was all self. You can make me big again. Self-made.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's as I said, if you crossed Ashra Temple and someone like John Fahey into one package, you'd get Master Wilburn Burchett. It's that kind of weirdo, experimental, but acoustic music at the same time.
Yeah,
And
cosmic primitive.
Yeah, cosmic primitive, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure some people in the chat will know about Master Wilburn Burchett. But as I said, if you're ever going to investigate, all these records have been reissued lovingly by the Numero Group, and they're very, very cheap to get. So very easy to get those records. So yeah,
excellent. Yeah. So
these are the kind of records that Mike just wants to tune in for.
I mean, this is a real problem for me, Fred, because I'm kind of fast running out of space, and then I come up here
Yeah,
and you show all these records, and
that's why
I've
I'm not
no
buying
idea what they
records.
sound like, and you sell them to me
Yeah.
so efficiently.
No, but I that's why I'm not buying records anymore. It's because I'm fully aware that this is my issue is it's not it's not really like the space factor and the time factor is it's I can't dedicate more space to. I actually went a few weeks ago and I sold a whole crate of records that I just wasn't listening to, and I got, I think, nearly $800 worth of credit in my local store because they were good records, basically. And so the guy said to me, "Do you want the money or do you want a voucher for the store?" It's Licorice Pie. It's my favorite store in Melbourne. So, and I said, "I'll take the credit." And so I've got a credit note which I can use throughout the year at that store only. So when I really miss going to buy a record, I can buy myself a record without spending a cent, which is great. It's
Excellent.
and I'll probably buy some. I'll probably go and buy something like a bit special, a bit expensive, like something off the wall. That's cool. I'm not going to buy like $20 records with that. I'm just going to go, okay, this $300 record on the wall. I want that now.
Maybe that's a way to keep your record collection in check.
And there's a second crate.
Just buy really expensive records, then you can't buy very many of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it me?
Yeah.
It's you.
Oui.
Right then. Again, another African album, band from Senegal, and this is Orchestra Baobab, and this is their album Pirate's Choice. And I can remember back in the sort of back in the 80s, I got a compilation album, and it was folk music and world music, and Orchestra Baobab was one of the tracks on here, and it was in fact the first track on side A. This is a double album, but it's called Outro Horus, and it really blew me away. It's about a 7 or 8 minute track, and I thought this is just absolutely wonderful. And it's this is a wonderful album, and and as whoever said, World Circuit were one of the record labels that really did a lot to promote particularly African music, I think. Here in the UK, and there's there's a little piece by sort of Charlie Gillett on here, sort of like recommending Orchestra Baobab. So I would say they're from Senegal. They kind of again they mix styles of music. I think at one time they were a hotel band. There's so many sort of bands in sort of Africa, and I think particularly in Eastern Africa, in Kenya and whatever.
Yeah.
That they would be, and there's the rail band, isn't there? Sort of, a band that played in a sort of a cafe at the railway station, and they, that was their residency. So, very different way of sort of, being a professional musician, isn't it, than you might have in the UK or sort of, elsewhere in Europe or sort of North America. But yeah, as I say, they're from Senegal. They mix a sort of different styles of sort of like son cubano and a sort of local style, which is called Wolof, I think, Wolof. And you get sort of some of the sort of more sort of traditional sort of West African instruments here, like the kora and the balafon, which is like a wooden instrument that you play with with a sort of little hammer, and it's just a wonderful album. And I was kind of reading about the sort of Wolof tradition, sort of music, and apparently a lot of sort of griot singers actually sort of sing in this style. And griot's quite interesting, really, because they're kind of teachers. But they teach about religion and about history through their singing. That's what they're all about.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would recommend this album. This is one of my all-time favorite albums from the continent of Africa.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant album. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. I'm about to show a record that I already talked about, but it's non-English, non-British folk stream, but it's funny because I'm a French person, so if I would hear this record without any information, I would probably think, oh, this comes from England. And I'm talking about this one.
Yes.
This is a fantastic record. Absolutely folk. Her voice reminds me a little bit of Joan Baez. Not Buffy St. Mary in a way. And this is a band from Australia, so the land down under. And
what did you say? What did you say?
This is a band from Australia.
What did you say?
The land down under. And the musically speaking, it has this pastoral elements. I could relate to the British folk, but also tribal music concrete in a way, So, which is funny because you send me this. Not this one. This is a ratio I found at the local record show in Montreal. But you, Fred, you sent me an album by a band called Rainbow Generator. And again, those texture, those sound, I can relate to primitive Australian. It's
Yeah, that's a wonderful album. I mean, when you brought that to my attention, a couple of months ago, maybe sometime before Christmas, and I've listened to it online, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think they would sort of go very well with sort of a band like Trees, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They've got that. There's almost sort of like a psychedelic quality.
Yeah. I think
lyrically.
Trees, but also I think for me, Vashti Bunyan comes to mind when I think of that tradition album. I think it's very much in that sort of. I think it's the vocals that get me there.
It's more proggy though.
Yeah.
When you listen to On the Shore, it's
Yeah. There you are. What
comments? We have Nick over here. So hi, Nick.
Is Mike's
hello, mate. I was
talking about you.
Talking about you earlier on.
Yeah, we are talking about your favorite genre.
All good stuff. About how you're you've got me onto Northern Soul recently.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can agree with that.
Perfect Prescription talks about Pip Pratt as well, which has been also reissued a few years back. Bit more obscure though, yeah. Interesting. Bit Syd Barrett-like as well. It's got this kind of Syd Barrett type of vibe to it. I don't know if perfect. Where are you? But I suppose is in you're in Oz because you know Licorice Pie and
Yeah.
he's probably in Australia somewhere. If you want to drop in the comment where you are, fellow
Name, address, zip code.
Yeah.
We want to know everything.
number, email,
Yeah,
everything.
email address. Yeah. You
Brisbane.
see?
Okay, yeah. Brisbane's it's got some great record stores too. There's Egg Records still exists in Brisbane. That was a really good record store. Egg, EGG. Anyway, what was I going to say? It's my turn. Yeah.
Oui.
Well, I was going to show something, but then I changed my mind at the last second because Mike is talking about this wonderful African folk, and this is not really a big, surprise in terms of, everybody knows this record sort of thing, but this is one of my absolute all-time favorite records, and it's this wonderful album. Mike knows it 100%, I'm sure. Make me big.
Oui.
Yeah, Mike.
I do know that. I don't actually have a copy of that.
Oh my god!
I mean they're two of the greats, though, aren't they?
Oh, look,
yeah.
Me, this is just absolute perfection in terms of.
Yeah.
So, you've got these two, lyrical geniuses. On their instrument, obviously, Alifa Toure, guitar player extraordinaire, both from Mali actually, and Toumani Diabate, who played the kora, and they just decided to make this. They made a couple of records together, but this here is it again. Just drop the adjective cosmic, but it is absolutely in every way cosmic music, but African folky cosmic music. It takes you into places that you didn't know existed. It's got this atmospheric, ethereal kind of vibe. It's this harp style kora playing, and the guitar that perfectly sort of fuse into one another. Again, it's like crowd rock from Mali. And whilst I was there, I pulled out also this wonderful record, The Source, which is not in the same league, in my opinion. Very good as well, but not exactly in the same league of for me, for my personal taste. But this is also a beautiful record, very soulful, more bluesy, we'll say, than it's called The Source, and it came out also on World Circuits. Just a beautiful African bluesy kind of record. But then, if I was going to recommend another Farka, this album is wonderful as well. It is one of his first albums, and that's World Circuits 1987. A very long, and it's Songhai music, beautiful.
Yeah.
Desert blues, Songhai music. Yeah.
So Bayete sort of featuring on that album, did I say?
Sorry?
The band Bayete, are they featuring there, or did I misread that?
No, I don't.
No, right, okay.
So no.
Right. Yeah, I thought it would have been quite strange because they're
it's just two people. It's him and percussionist basically. But honestly, look, if I can go back to this, I will say it's a terrible thing to say, but this should be in every collection, in my opinion. It's that good. It's unspeakably good. So, In the Heart of the Moon came out in 2005 exactly. Mojo, I don't want to quote Mojo, but I agree 100% with that quote.
Yeah, well, if they say it's good.
So there we go. It's yeah, it's just fabulous. This album is, I love this. I love. If I was going to make a top 100 favorite records, this would surely be in it. Surely, yeah, very good, very good. Anyway,
Mike?
there we go.
Yep, Nico, yeah. Yes, as you mentioned, sort of Ali Farka Touré, I thought I'd pull this album out.
Yeah, his son.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw him.
with,
I saw him live playing this album. Actually, playing the songs from this
with
album.
Kerangan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is it's quite an unusual sounding album, I think, really. But
what do you think of? Just a serious question. What do you think? What's your opinion on the Khruangbin? Like, what's your take on that band? I'm interested.
Right, on their own, I'm not terribly impressed. I quite like them, but they tend to sort of crop up in all sorts of collaborations, and that they did a collaboration with Mbaya Garcia,
yeah, which
again is a lovely album. So I think she's playing some of the tracks from her debut album, isn't it, Source? Yeah, but as a band to listen to on their own, I think they're, to damn them with faint praise, I suppose, is that they're
because they were all the rage for a while, and then Khruangbin, and they've got a look. They're kind of cool. They've got this guitar thing happening. The bass player, the Laura Lee, she's she's quite striking. But as a band, I find them extremely repetitive. The music is quite uninspiring in parts. It's just this kind of psychedelic, funky music that's supposed to be, but they're not really inventing anything that is terribly. I think the guitar player is really quite amazing in what he does, but it's more like for me, Khruangbin is more like an image rather than a music. Like they've got more of their identity is tied with what they look like and everything.
I think that's right. I would describe them as a band that I feel I ought to like more than I do.
That's right. Yeah, that's why I was asking you for your opinion. I saw, as I said, Vieux Farka Touré in Melbourne. At the time of that album, with my girlfriend, we went. He was amazing. He was, oh my God, he was so amazing. He was incredible. It was like he was playing guitar, and at one point, I had the feeling there was another guitar player hidden behind the curtain, because I thought he can't possibly be playing this by himself. It was so he's so deft. You felt like two guitars were playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Is there another person playing guitar? But no, he's just such a great. I mean, his father is the undisputed king of African guitar, but his son is very good, And by contrast, I went very shortly thereafter. I went to see Fela Kuti's son live, Femi Kuti, and I was not impressed by Femi Kuti at all.
Oh well, there you go. Yes,
yes.
The DNA probably doesn't always do its work, does it?
And speaking of gigs, whilst I'm here, so I'm this afternoon I'm going to a gig, but I'm very excited because in a few weeks I got tickets for what's his name, Jerry Harrison from the Talking Heads, and Adrian Belew, who was also in the Talking Heads for a while, and they're playing Remain in Light with a band with they bring a band. They're playing the whole of Remain in Light. Two of the original Talking Heads band for the Remain in Light, because Adrian Belew played in the Remain in Light band back in the day, and they're going to play Remain in Light. That's very cool. Also got tickets for Tortoise, which is very cool, and Gwennifer Raymond. I'm going to see.
Wow! Yeah.
Raymond. Yeah. So I'm not buying records, but I'm
But
going to
you
go.
compensate with going to gigs. We
Yeah. But Jennifer Raymond's coming in August, and
I'd love to see her live.
yeah, but she's if she's coming to Australia, surely she'll be touring somewhere near you.
Yeah. I'm sure if I if I wait long enough, she'll.
Well, anyway, that's just a side note.
A town near me. Yeah.
But I've got some. Yeah, I've got 4 or 5 gigs lined up, but the tortoise is going to be good. I think. I hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yes, you have to tell us how the remaining light gig goes. Yeah. But I mean, not so long ago we were talking about Angelique Kidjo's.
Yeah, that's right.
Version,
You were.
Yeah. I love that album too. It's great.
Yeah.
Whose turn was it?
Well, I think it's still me.
I have nothing else to show, so
it's you. No.
I haven't got a lot to the show anyway. So right, there you go.
Oh, I love this record.
They're fantastic, and I mean their latest album, which I should have got out as well. That's absolutely brilliant. But this one, I mean, they're from Niger. They're a Tuareg band, so that's from sort of Saharan music, and they're. I just love the vocals on this. They do they do a lot with their voices that isn't singing. It's difficult to describe. That's the album. That's the latest one, isn't it? Yeah. But they're just, I think they're just wonderful. Sort of, vocally when they're interacting with each other. It's just, it's just absolutely amazing stuff. So. I thought I just wanted to show that I've been listening to this quite recently.
Yeah, but
and I mean they mix a bit of sort of desert blues sort of into their music as well, which is kind of surprising.
It's very in the same, like we talk about Ali Farka. It's very much in that sort of universe. Another band that comes to mind is Tina Ruwen, obviously.
Of course,
they're quite. But when I'm saying I'm not buying records, here is a classic example of 2 records that I haven't heard for ages. And thanks to you, thanks to this little show that we're doing, I've pulled them out. I haven't pulled them out just to show them, but I haven't listened to this for ages. And see, like not buying records just affords me that time where I can just go, okay, I don't have to catch up with new records. I can just go back and spend my time exploring things that I don't know. Like if you ask me what this sounds like, I kind of know, but at the same time I don't know. And it's good to be able to spend the time. I've got a pile of records there on my feet there that I've pulled out. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's that.
Okay. I'll show you some CDs actually. Just quickly.
You heretic.
I know. I deserve to be drummed out of the vinyl community.
How dare you? Next installment is going to show you his MP3s or something. He's my Spotify.
I think the thing is that sort of some formats are cool and some aren't. So cassettes are cool, aren't they?
Hey Mike,
but 8 tracks are not.
At my feet, I had those. So I understand.
I mean, when sort of what would be termed sort of world music, I've got thousands. What the kind of world music boom in sort of Europe, was sort of like late 80s, early 90s time, and I was buying CDs. And a lot of the releases only came out on CD, and I've been listening to quite a few of them, and I've got some absolutely brilliant stuff. But I thought I'd just show I just show these because these are a real staple for me, and they're the Rough Guide CDs.
Yeah, the rough guys are good. Yeah.
They're really excellent. So you
Yeah.
get about an hour's music. So there you go. There's Rough Guide to High Life. I won't go into that. There you go. Calypso and Soca. Oh, that's an Issue and Door and Etoile de Zaka there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Music of Zimbabwe. Music of Kenyan, Tanzania. Marabenta, Mozambique. This is an excellent album. I was listening to this yesterday. Then there's the music of North Africa. So you've got, you've got quite a bit of Rye on here, but also some other stars as well. Yeah. And then another one I picked out, which is Congolese Sikas. Yeah. I've got many more of these as well, but. I just thought I'd show them, because I've been.
Yeah, the rough guides are amazing. They've done such a great job introducing people to a whole lot of ethnic music. We'll say, because that's what it is. It's world music. I mean, when we say this now, it feels like a little bit of a put down, but. I don't know. I mean, I think when we say world music, we know what it's clear what we're talking about. It's not. I wouldn't use this as necessarily something that was negative or had a negative connotation. But ethno world music. I don't know what you call it. From non-English countries.
It was called world music when when it first sort of hit sort of Europe.
It's Peter Gabriel's fault. I blame Peter Gabriel. Sorry, but that's his doing.
Although, I mean, the Real World label, it was really, really excellent.
I know.
So many brilliant, and again, I've got lots of CDs on the Real World label.
I've got so many CDs. Like, look, I'll show you some CDs as well whilst I'm here. Can I show some CDs?
Oui. Yes.
Okay. Here's one that I've been playing a lot recently.
This excellent. Yeah.
One of the top roots reggae records, the Gladiators, Bonnie Prince Billy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really nice later period album. Here's an American Primitive record from last year.
Oh, Richard Bishop. Yeah.
Bishop, and that really does. Because American Primitive, it is hillbilly ragas basically. That's just. It's weird. There you go. He used to be in the Sun City Girls, and then now he's making all this. But look at this, the sleeve of this thing. It's amazing. It's Cubist sleeve with American Primitive music on it. It's I'm obsessed with Sun Ra at the moment. I'm playing a lot of Sun Ra.
Yeah.
I'm planning a French video on Sun Ra, like a whole retrospective. There's a Irish folk of the highest order. Like if Fairport Convention were Irish, have you heard this record?
I don't know them. I really passed you by. Yeah.
Oh my God!
What sort of era are they? I mean,
let's stop for a second here. Yeah. So Mellow Candle is the name of the band. The album's called Swaddling Songs. It's two female vocalists. It's got this twin kind of. They really legit sound like Fairport Convention or Trees, but it's super original kind of. Yeah, the songwriting is up there. It's what's the song called? Heaven Here, Cheap Season. So it's an album from. So you've got Claude. I don't know how you pronounce her name. Claude.
Simmons Taurus. Claude,
I don't know how you say this in Irish, but
yeah.
And Alison Williams. So these two singers trade vocals on this. Right. And the track is The Poet and the Witch. This track here, number 4, if you want to hear something that's... Right. But everything... This is top quality folk music, 1972. Right. I've had this for years, absolute years. I've had this for 15 years, maybe 20 years.
Right.
When was it re-released? Yeah, 2007. Yeah,
Right. No,
a long
that passed
time.
me by completely.
Oh, you would
Yeah,
love
so,
it. You would
yeah.
absolutely. Do you know Woods as well? Do you know this one?
Oh
Here?
yes, I know.
Woods band. I think I like this more than this.
All
I would
right,
say.
right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they're both Irish, obviously. And then it's something completely different. Some Australian indie tronica girling. They were just like an indie band from Australia, and
Right.
they made some electronic music. It's like Air and Pavement rolled into one band. Yeah, some CDs there. Anyway, we've gone to 3 hours. I think it's enough.
Yeah, it's time
Yeah,
to wrap up. I think we showed
yeah.
enough. Is
Yeah,
never
it's
enough. Yeah,
been fun again, hasn't it?
yeah.
Well,
so-
and we've shown so many records. We talked about so many genres. I mean, if anybody watches this video after the fact, they will have a whole lot of stuff to look into. Really, it's really very deep in terms of styles and how we moved. I mean that's my take on it, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't think very many live.
We avoided UK completely. Yeah.
yeah, but
I say England anyway.
we
'cause
already covered in
Yeah.
the first 2 streams we dedicated to this. Yeah. So hey, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Fred, for being such a loyal panelist. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, once a month or whatever is really nice.
It's good fun, isn't it?
And I know for North America, it might be silly to start a live stream on a Saturday afternoon, but I don't have really the choice because I'm in Montreal. These gentlemen are not like next door. That's the least we can say.
Yeah, we're geographically we're placed in the most inconvenient place.
Continents,
It's a bit of a challenge to find the right slot. So we found a slot, 3 a.m. Eastern time Saturday will quite work for you, both of you guys. So yeah, but you can always rewatch later in the comments. So thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend and see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.